Welcome to the RideBoundless podcast, where we explore the limitless world of motorcycles and the people who ride them. On this episode, we have a special guest, John, also known as Victory John. He's a passionate photographer and weekend warrior who spends his days posted up on the Mulholland Drive in Malibu Mountains, capturing stunning images of motorcycles and cars passing by. Join us as we delve into John's career, passion, and inspiring story behind his work. He's even brought some of his amazing photos to share with us. And don't forget to check out our sponsor, Ride Clean, the simple and easy way to keep your motorcycle looking like new. Made with carnauba wax and proudly made in the USA. Ride Clean is safe on any surface. Use promo code RBPodcast for 25% off, plus free shipping. Also, be sure to visit our website at www.rideboundless.net for blogs, all our past guests, new group rides, events, merchandise, and much more. Join us in an exciting episode on the RideBoundless podcast. Mr. Victory John, a.k.a. John.
Just John.
Just John, a.k.a. Just John.
John.
Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for inviting me.
I appreciate you responding to the calls and the back and forth on the emails and bringing all these beautiful samples.
And we're here.
And we're here.
And my baby.
And your baby. For the listeners and the people watching the video, how do you introduce yourself? What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm Victory John. I'm a professional photographer, and I have a very unique form of photography. I don't think too many. In fact, I think I'm pretty much the only one in Southern California doing what I do.
And what is it that you do?
I stand on the side of the road shooting predominantly motorcycles.
How?
I do shoot some cyclists and some cars, some exotics, but basically my target is motorcycles.
Man, how... It's funny because when you say it, you never think about how dangerous that is.
That's pretty crazy. It can get nuts.
Yeah, it can get
people flying past my face like this guy doing about 80 right at me.
This guy's coming straight at you. I think we
straight at me.
Should be able to.
That's
focus.
a Ducati Panigale V4. That's my friend Barack, and he's one of the fastest riders out there. I shoot him regularly, between 75 and 80. One time he came by at 85 on my birthday and sadly crashed right in front of me.
Yeah, that was recent.
Out of there. It was on my birthday in May.
In May.
And this is he's back riding again, and now his bike is all carbon fiber, and he's back doing it.
So he brought you a cake. My understanding
brought me a birthday cake.
He carried a cake on his Ducati, said happy birthday to you,
yeah.
And then after that, he got into an
30
accident.
minutes later, crashed right in front of me.
And got helicoptered out.
Yep.
That's crazy. Do we know the cause of the accident?
He pitched the bike over beyond its capability.
Sugar?
Yes, please. He pitched the bike over beyond its capability to the point where he actually bent the pin back on the kickstand stand. The little pin that sticks out, he put it over so far that it bent the pin back, and the bike low-sided at about 80.
Oh, my goodness, man.
Yeah.
You've been doing this 20 years.
No, 14 years. This is my 14th year on
Well, of course, you're only 35, right?
Yeah, I'm 35, single. No. I started 2009, September 2009, on Mulholland.
What's the story about that?
That's
like, what were you doing before?
Yeah, it's a strange story. In 2009, I was working. My photography was totally different. It was using photo cubes, doing product management, product development, package design, advertising, magazine stuff for the different companies that I worked for, and making really good money. And in July 2009, actually in June 2009, I decided that I wanted to have a kid, and I'm horrible with relationships, so I hired a surrogate. And in July 2009, I found out that we're pregnant and I'm going to have a baby in January. Same month, 2009, the company I worked for pulled up stakes and moved to Tennessee, and everybody in California got laid off.
Wow.
So I went from 6 figures to unemployment.
Ouch.
With a baby on the way. Literally just found out I got a baby on the way. So I had to come up with something. So I tried to start a company to compete with the company that moved, and then bad things happened. I hired a recovered heroin addict who stole all my products, and next thing you know, I'm out of products and out of stuff to sell. So now I've got to come up with something, and so I turned my photography in a different direction. So it was all by sheer chance. started shooting out on Mulholland. Jay Leno, I got Jay Leno's attention. He contacted me and did a interview with me for Jay Leno's Garage. And next thing I know, I got people coming out, and I'm shooting them, and Highway Photos got launched. So
That's amazing.
yeah, I've been doing it ever since.
But okay, so you're down your luck. They take your equipment. You got a baby coming. Like, what was it that you said? You know what? This street photography thing is the best. Or was it like a friend of yours, like, hey, can you take a shot?
No, I'd seen it before. When I was in Franklin, Tennessee, I decided to rent a Harley, and I went down the Tail of the Dragon. And everybody knows if you go down the Tail of the Dragon, there's a guy named Killboy, and he's doing this kind of photography. He's on the side of the road shooting people, and I met him. Now, that was while I was working for that company that moved to Tennessee. I did such a good job for them in Tennessee. They decided that office would become their primary office, and they shut down this office. I went, oh, thanks. So I set them up to fire me. So
That's
I
always
also knew of Rockstore Photos, which was a guy who was shooting up on top of the Snake, which is past the Rockstore. So I actually talked to him, made some arrangements to be on his website for a while. So me and his girlfriend were on his website, and he kind of, let me know he was there and I'm here. And then after about a year, I broke loose from him. And then he went out of business just before the Woolsey fire. So now I'm the only one. So, but I had no idea that this was going to go the way that it went. So I've upgraded my camera 5 times now. This is my latest.
What did you start off with?
Started off with a little D300 that was like an 8 megapixel camera, but back in 2009, that was state of the art. But it was still what they call a crop sensor, and then I had this big lens on it, so it was a little camera with a big lens. The other thing I found out was I ran into problems with the Rangers because I shoot in Malibu Creek State Park, and so you need a film permit if you're shooting in a state park. Why, but welcome to California. And so instead of giving me a ticket, the Rangers connected me with some people in LA that handle licensing, and I got a multi-million-dollar insurance policy, which is all they really wanted. And then they gave me the film permit. So now I have a film permit to shoot out there.
So you got to do this annually?
I have to do it annually. So I have to keep my permit up. Now, up on top of the Snake where Paul was, he didn't need a permit because he was in unincorporated LA County. Nobody owned it. But where I'm at, this is Malibu Creek State Park. So you need a permit. So
now, how did you find your location? And was that always your location?
No, it's all a trick. It's all a little bit of mastery. I drove up and down. Now, before the Rangers, before I got into trouble with the Rangers, I used to have a backpack on the back. Now, you want to know how I got the name Victory John?
Yeah.
I started out with a Victory Vision up there. And so people started calling me Victory John, and so it just took. Now I've got the Goldwing, and somebody said, are you going to change your name to Honda John? No, it just doesn't roll off the tongue.
Or Golden
Goldwing
John.
Yeah, no, we'll stick with Victory John. Victory over all things, right? So so I used to have a backpack on the bike because a ranger came by and said they were looking for me to give me a ticket. So I would take the camera and slide it into the backpack. The second I saw a ranger, I'd take off, Then I'd come back a little bit later. So I moved around a lot when I first started. I would shoot kind of here and then move and then shoot over here. It got tiring just trying to outrun them. Then finally the lead ranger came to me and said, instead of trying to outrun us all the time, why don't you just go talk to this guy? He'll work it out on getting you a license. And that's when I made these connections with the CHP and the sheriff, because I sort of needed their endorsement. I needed their approval. So, got the license, and then I didn't have to run anymore. So then that's when Camp Victory started up, which is the camp, which it now looks like now. So.
Yeah, and
anybody goes by sees it.
Or is that a trailer you pull with the bike?
That's a trailer that I pull with a bike, and I just finished that trailer last year.
That's
a do-it-yourself, mini teardrop. So everybody recognizes me now. So
everybody,
and then I
have a friend of mine from the bike shed, and she was like, you got to talk to Victory, Tiffany.
Yeah, Tiffany, sure, Tiffany MB.
Yeah,
she's gorgeous. I may actually have a picture of her here.
Yeah, Tiffany Benz.
Oh, I don't. Yeah. She does the watches.
But she was, you know, just exactly. Yeah. But she was like so excited that I was doing this interview. Jaime, you know, Camille, that you did the photography.
Right.
I don't know if you're familiar with Jaime Camille, but this guy's.
Well, he bought the pictures with the live wire. He was on the live wire that day.
Yeah.
I told him, come back, we'll get more. I want to get you with your helmet off.
That'd be amazing too.
Just come by, drop off your helmet, make a couple passes. My license covers me.
We
CHP and the sheriff don't bother me at all. I do it all the time.
Oh man, that's so awesome. Yeah. I'm gonna
come by with your helmet off. Well, I'll grab your helmet. You just do a couple passes, get your helmet, and go.
That's another thing that he's always that Victory John's always done. John, from day one of just contacting you, you've always were welcoming. Come by the campsite, hang out the campsite, ask any questions, recommendations. You know, is slow down when you're taking that turn. You'll get better shots. The picture doesn't show how fast you're going.
Right, and it doesn't make for a better shot. Pushing it is fine. I get a lot of guys like, I'll tell you one other thing, because you did ask the question about why did I pick these locations. The trick with Mulholland, I've driven up and down Mulholland looking for the right spots. The trick is the power lines and power poles.
That's right.
And you got to find a spot. I had to find a spot where I had a nice background that blends in nicely, even though the background is blurred on the pictures. They still look beautiful, but with no power poles and power lines. Now, occasionally, I will get some power poles and power lines in the edge of the shot, and I edit that out. In the pictures that you got, you were coming downhill, and there were power poles, power lines, and Jaime was in the background. And I think I sent you an edited one with him in it and with him not in it. And then I took away the power poles and power lines.
Yeah, you even did an edit where it's me, followed by me, followed by me.
That's the panorama. Yeah, the panoramas are pretty cool. I did that one custom one for anybody who likes Jason Momoa or Keanu Reeves. Now, these guys have never bought pictures from me, but it doesn't mean I can't play with their pictures. So my friend John wanted to do something for his wife for Mother's Day. His wife rides a Ducati, and he rides a Road King. Actually, they both have Road Kings, but she happened to be on her Ducati this one day. And I said, does your wife like Jason Momoa? And he says, oh, my God, my wife loves Jason Momoa. And I said, how about Keanu Reeves with his Arch motorcycles? And oh, my God, she loves Keanu Reeves. And I said, okay, let's do something. So I made this picture. I'm not going to show this edge of it because this is Jason Momoa, Lorraine, John's wife, and then this is Keanu Reeves on his Arch motorcycle. And he says, well, can I be in the picture? I said, sure. So we have him hitchhiking.
Hilarious. This is so genius.
And this was actually photos from over a 4-year period. The picture of Keanu Reeves I took maybe 4 years ago. Jason Momoa I took last year in the summer when he was on that vintage Harley. And then Lorraine's picture, I took that 3 years ago at my other camp.
This is legendary.
Yeah, so I do the edit in such a way that there is no way that you can tell that that's a mock-up. It looks like she's actually riding with those guys.
I wouldn't, yeah. I think I'm going to ask for one of these.
We're going to do one for you. Now, this one's going to blow you away because this is a guy named Dinosaur. Absolutely.
Let me show this because this is...
You got to look at the detail at how I do the edits, because that's one thing that I'm known for is the way I do the edits. You cannot tell that is an edit.
Yeah, that's kind of not nice.
So
that's a masterpiece. That's
isn't
awesome.
that cool? And of course, I've never heard from Jason Momoa, so he clearly doesn't want his pictures, but somebody else does.
Yeah.
So
his loss.
Yeah, I know. He's followed by paparazzi. What does he need my photography for? The other guy that I get all the time is a guy named Dinosaur, and he's one of my.
That sounds familiar.
He's a really cool guy. He goes down to Neptune's a lot. He's one of the guys that rides with all the other guys on the Dynas that ride like crazy guys.
Yeah.
And he's an old guy like me, but he rides like a teenager. And he's funnier than hell because he always told me, he said, if you ever shoot me from the inside, I'm never going to buy the picture. So sometimes I go on the other side of the road and get inside shots, like Barack with the Panigale.
Right.
I shot him on the inside with him coming right at my face. So this one Saturday, Dinosaur comes by, and I'm on the wrong side of the road, and he comes by on the red bike.
I'm going to
like,
move your mic.
Oh.
I think if I put it
in front of me? There we go.
Better.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
With this new setup, I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay. You want to start over?
No. Yes,
Okay.
let's start over.
All right. So Kevin comes by on his Dyna on his red bike, and I'm on the wrong side of the road. This is on a Saturday, and I go, oh crap, he's not going to buy those pictures.
Yeah.
And so Sunday comes around, and I'm out there shooting again. I'm on the wrong side, and he comes by on his blue gray bike, and this time I'm on the wrong side of the road again. I'm going, damn it, I missed him twice, 2 times in a row. So I created this for him, which is now, this is him riding both bikes at the same time. And again, if you look really close, even in between the spokes and between the engine compartment, all that, you'll see the bike on the other side.
As you're describing it, let me show it.
Yeah. The edit is unreal, and this is now his favorite shot. He blew this up poster size and gave it to his daughter. And it is now his favorite image of all time, which is funny because he told me he would never get pictures if I shoot him on the inside.
This is an awesome shot.
Yeah, pretty crazy, right? So I had to come up with a way to make him like it, even though he didn't like it.
That's a beautiful. So when you do a shot like that, are you sticking to one motorcycle and one scene and adding other ones, or are you cutting out the bikes on both of them and then adding your own road?
Yeah, I mean, that's a trick. Yeah. What I'm doing now, you notice the shadowing is the same because you came by at the same time. A lot of these guys, they come by me at the same time of day. So it's always perfect, especially if I get them 2 days in a row. The shadowing is going to be perfect. So, so what I did was I took one picture that I liked the best based on the position of the bike.
Yeah.
Then I figured which bike was going to be easier to superimpose over the front of the other one. And it turned out this one worked where I kept the red one, this picture by itself, and then cut this out and put it on, and then had to do all the kind of crazy editing. But because I took them from the same spot, the background blended perfectly.
Right.
So sun's beating off. I told you, if it hits the top of my head, it's going to be blinding.
Now, how'd you learn? I mean, I guess once you learn photography, it's funny because
I've been shooting since I was in my teens.
Yeah,
my mother.
But it's interesting because I've always said I'd taken photography, and I took photography in high school. But the thing is, my teacher liked me so much. I did it for 3 years in high school, and my point is that back then I did black and white film. And it's like, I had to open the canister. I had to get the little dark bag, the darkroom bag, and I couldn't get my hands out until you did it. But, the thing that I hated back then was mixing the chemicals, getting the right temperature, developing, and then mixing it for the photography. And I hated that thing. But after like a year of getting really good at it, I was like, this is the easy part because it's always the same.
Right.
It's your picture where you're like, oh, man, I wish I was a little to the left, a little to the right. And my point is, the reason I bring this up is now I guess when you get into photography, you have to get into Photoshop. You have to get into these editing softwares.
It's a digital nightmare. If you look at the back of this, if I go into the menu on this, it's a literal computer. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. There's menus for everything, and each menu has 1,000 sub-menus. And the funny thing is, you'll notice on my camera, it says M. That means manual. I use manual settings. I don't use any tricks.
Any automatic or anything.
Well, only autofocus. Autofocus is the one thing you can't do physically with people coming at me at those speeds. So I use the autofocus, but everything else is manual. So, and I use a slow shutter setting, which is why you get the blur in the background. So a lot of people doing high-speed photography, it's a high-speed camera with a high-speed lens, but I'm shooting slow speed.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is just a ridiculous question because I'm the master at these ridiculous questions.
Oh, good.
If you had to pick, what's more important, the camera or the lens? I know it's both, but what's more?
It's the lens. It's really the lens. Yeah. I mean, I could take this lens and put it on 3 different cameras and give you the same kind of quality. It's all in the glass. I mean, that was something that I learned early on, even doing photography up in Big Sur as a kid.
How's the coffee?
It's great. It's unbelievable. Oof. I'll be awake for a month.
I think so.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was told early on that it's all in the glass. It's something I always like to laugh at because the one problem that photographers have these days is cell phones.
Right.
Everybody with a cell phone is a photographer.
Right.
I don't care if your camera shoots 46 megapixel. Without this glass, I'll guarantee you're not going to get the shots I get with the Harleys. The Harleys have a serial number. The VIN number goes down the frame of the down tube.
You can get that.
I get people coming by me at 45, 55, 65 miles an hour on their Harleys, and they contact me and they say, what's the clarity like in the picture? And I tell them the last 6 digits of their VIN.
Wow.
Okay? And do that with a cell phone.
Oh, that's
Your
not,
cell
that's
phone
not gonna
won't
happen.
capture that now with these lenses.
Not yet.
Not yet.
They're getting pretty. I mean, I have another phone here. Well, you have a Samsung.
Yeah, it's a Galaxy S22 Ultra.
Yeah,
with some serious crazy
Ultra.
lenses.
Have you taken a picture of the moon with that?
Yeah, it's got the tracking system. Now, see,
crazy.
you're right. I cannot take now. If you look on my Instagram page, you'll see a picture I took of Jupiter's moons that I did with this camera. I couldn't do that with my cell phone, but this one actually you can actually see the colors of the moons. It's really a trip. Everybody when I posted it, because that was one of the first times
What'd you
I'd
do? Hook it
taken
up to a
pictures.
telescope, like a digital telescope? Or
Yeah, no. I just use this camera, put it to its full range, put it on a tripod, and it just had the settings right. And then the trick of shooting Jupiter, a lot of people don't know this. You take a bad shot, you can't really see anything until you put it in Lightroom. And then because the sensor captures everything that you can't see, Lightroom brings all that out. And so it's really amazing. That's how I was able to get the shot. When I looked at it on the camera, I'm going, I don't think I got it. And then I went home and I put it on the computer and I put it in Lightroom. I pulled all the light out. What was that? Oh, that was your phone?
Yeah, I have only one person that can break through my silence phone.
A child?
Close.
A girlfriend.
A wife.
Oh, yeah,
a wife during school time. Wow, yeah. I'm just in between that. So here's where I'm at with cameras. I have this guy, and I love this camera, and I have a bunch of lenses on this. But I'm thinking about, how did you take this?
Can't with this camera.
Yeah, you can't get that with an eye.
No.
But the same lens?
Yep. That's insane. Yeah. And that's not on a tripod. That's holding it with my hand. This was back when we had the migration of the painted lady butterflies. I don't remember that, about 3 years ago, about 2 years ago. It was right after the Woolsey fire. We had butterflies everywhere. My son came out to my camp just to capture all the thousands of caterpillars.
I remember that.
Remember that?
I remember
You drive
that.
through and you got home and you had black and yellow
Yeah.
splatters all over your bike. Yeah, that was the painted lady migration. And there were 2 migrations in the same month. It was crazy. So, yeah.
This is random, but how did the you got a surrogate mother to have your child?
Right.
How long ago was this? That was in
2009.
That was 2009.
I made the arrangements in June of 2009. July of 2009, we found out that we were pregnant, and then literally 2 weeks later, I lost my job. So,
yeah. So, but you were married at the time?
No.
Oh, single.
Yeah. Never been married.
Never been married.
Never been married.
Because I had an ex-wife that was so disgustingly evil that I was like, if I was able to redo this, I would do it that way.
And those stories, I think I told you, I'm sober 30. I'll be 39 years in less than a month on February 8th.
Congratulations on
thank
that.
you.
Big deal. Hold on, I got.
Oh, cool.
Right? Thank you, guys. Sit down. That's amazing.
Hey, we'll have the cake here for me next. Just don't crash in front of me.
Yeah, don't crash.
It seems to happen with cakes. Being in that crowd, there's not, it's like picking from the wackiest person in the crazy house, you know?
Right.
So, been through my share of
Crazy.
Failed crazy. Yeah. And, I decided that doesn't mean that I can't be a dad. So
that's exactly how
I was doing really well, and I decided now's the time. And woof, boy, did I get floored by the events that followed. It's like, yay, I'm pregnant. Oh shit! Now I got to find a job. And it got scary for a while. So, and there've been a couple of times I thought about hanging this up, and every time I think about it, I get all these phone calls from people saying, "We heard you were thinking about quitting. You can't." It's like, don't you get it?
Yeah, you're part of the land.
Part of Mulholland,
You're
part of the landscape, I guess. Yeah,
We need you. Yeah.
Well, and the feedback that I get from people, it's really why I do it. I don't make a lot of money doing it. I mean, a lot of people don't understand the cost that goes into it, and the time, and you know, if I were out there
It's so
just doing,
huge. Yeah.
it's crazy. I mean, I
Now,
built my own
you
website.
you could sell those pictures to anybody you want, right? Or anybody
Well,
can
sure,
purchase.
but that's not going to happen.
Right.
Nobody's going to contact me and say, "Hey, do you have a picture of a Ducati?" You know, I want
Right.
to put it in a magazine. Now, I have had magazines contact me and ask me for specific photos, like Audi I ended up getting some pictures of one of their electric cars, and they contacted me, and now one of my pictures is hanging in Germany in their research and development. The guy actually sent me a picture of it hanging on the wall poster
That's
size.
amazing.
Mini Cooper contacted me because I accidentally shot one of their cars that wasn't covered with the stuff it was supposed to be covered, and it was a car that no one was supposed to see, so they got a kick out of that. But I've been in the magazines. I was printed California Highway Patrol. I was even on the front cover of the California Highway Patrol's magazine, which is what this is all about.
What is that? A badge?
Well, this is a commemorative coin for a guy named Lucas Chaloux, who passed away chasing down a motorcycle thief. He was a motor that ran regularly on Mulholland, and he was chasing a motorcycle thief and got killed during the pursuit. This is a memorial cane.
Wait, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well, the way that the CHP came up with this coin was this photo that's on the back. Yeah. The photo that's on the back, a few years ago, this was the cover photo for California Highway Patrol's magazine called Zenith 12,000. That photo was when they first came out, and they went from Harley-Davidson to BMWs. And so they wanted a picture of the new BMW. And so one of the guys with the CHP contacted me and said, talk to the editors. They want to use this photo in the magazine. So they did. So when this guy got killed, they knew who to contact to do the memorial coin, because that's the same image that was on the cover of the magazine. So they contacted me, and they came up with the memorial coin.
This is so special.
Yeah, it really is.
I hate to ask, but like, what he was chasing him,
Chasing a motorcycle thief, and
Right.
he went around a turn, and a car was coming out, and instead of hitting the car, he went into a pole. He had a choice: hit the car, public, or hit the pole.
and he was riding the BMW.
Yeah, he was on a BMW.
And what was the other guy on?
I don't remember what the other guy was on, but they ended up catching him the next day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They always catch him. It just sucks how much damage these people do
When you run, you don't know
yeah.
what's going to happen, and that's why I always tell people, don't especially in these canyons, don't try to outrun the cops. Just pull over and take the ticket.
Yeah.
And a lot of times these guys are very, generous. They're not going to write you up for the speed you were going.
Right.
These guys are I know all these guys from West Valley. They're all amazing people. One of the guys, the top-ranking motor cop in California, really good friend. He just retired,
Yeah.
So, I mean, these guys are really cool, and they sure as hell don't chase.
They're super cool. I was talking to I interviewed I don't know if you've heard of him, but Quinn Rediker, Detective Quinn Rediker.
I don't know him. Is that sheriff or
Ventura PD.
Oh, Ventura PD. Yeah, I wouldn't know.
He's Ventura, but he's like one of the best. What do they call it? Carney motorcycle riders.
Oh, really?
You know how they do the things?
Oh, they do the crazy stuff on the motors.
Yeah, so he's traveled the world and been to Europe and all this stuff and does that. And then
Well,
he's been
CHP has a drill team.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, all those guys are amazing.
I don't know too many sheriffs anymore, because the one sheriff that used to be our go-to guy passed away from a brain aneurysm just 2 years ago.
Oh, man.
So we don't have any contacts with the sheriff anymore, but I still have a lot of contacts with CHP. So
Yeah.
and they love me out there. I mean, they come by.
No, they're amazing. But I was talking to Quinn Rediker, and when I heard his story, his story is cool because he grew up. I mean, everybody's story is great, but his story was cool because he talks about growing up in the San Fernando Valley in the 70s and 80s, and he would be like, Robert, you can grab a rock and throw it in anybody's garage door, and they had a dirt bike or they had something. And he's talking about riding to Malibu and picking up chicks or whatever the case is. So he described this romantic 70s lifestyle. No cell phones, nothing, just your dirt bike.
You have computers,
Freezing your ass off at the end of the day of Malibu, coming back to the valley,
Yeah.
But he talks about this, and it's awesome. But then he talks about like
like, you know, what it is to be a motorcycle cop. And like, when you pull over somebody, you're looking, okay, this person has, you know, expired registration. I'm going to turn on my lights. But if I turn on my lights, I might scare the other guys. If I turn on the siren, this guy might brake. If he brakes, do I have space so I don't hit him?
Right.
You know, what's this car going to do? When he finally stops, I got to get off the bike. When I get off the bike, I got to make sure I have the kickstand. But if he starts shooting at me, where do I hide behind the bike? And you start getting into how intricate every decision and precise. And then it's like, people tell me, you know, people talk, you know, shit to us sometimes because we're wearing just like T-shirts, you know, like regular shirts. But it's like, if you spend half the day running off your bike chasing somebody, you don't want to have 10 different things plus your vest plus this. So you need something where you're like, you know, mobile.
Right.
And it's just fucking like, don't fuck with these guys.
No,
like just.
Yeah, they got, you know, sure, they get paid well, but they also, you know, they earn their keep. You know, plus they keep the canyons safe, you know. I especially like them out there where they're at. And like I said, they're all very fair. You do something really stupid, you know, and they're going to hit you on it. But I always tell people, if you get pulled over on Mulholland, just tell them you're on your way to Victory John, and they'll probably escort you. I had a girl on a Ducati get pulled over for speeding. She says, I just trying to get a birthday gift to little John for Victory John. And they said, okay, so they brought her to me. Luckily, she didn't have a gift.
I'm sure she was hot.
She was hot. Yeah, that's Shadeen.
I don't think that had nothing to do with you.
Probably, yeah.
It wasn't your kid. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, I get some hot girls out there. Here's one. She's a model.
Look at those eyes.
I know. I love my photos when I see those and I get home and I go, wow. You know, again, do that with your cell phone.
No, there's no comparison.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be right if I didn't have you take a look at Moto Shelby. She's one of my favorite all-time people. She's constantly posting stuff from before.
That smile.
I know. She does that every time. She comes by and she looks right at the camera, and I'm like, oh, she's breaking my heart.
Let me get closer to the mic. I mean, that smile is just like, I love riding my motorcycle.
I know.
Like,
and she talks about this bike
moment
all the time. That's like a 1300, and she rides it like it's a dirt bike.
It is a 1300, K1300. Yeah. But she just, you could tell, like this is the joy. Like, this is how,
this is what she loves doing, is riding. She's been all over the world. So I think they're back in the U.S.
How did you get into riding? When did you start riding?
Oh, wow. I got my first motorcycle when I went to Agoura High, and that's why Mulholland is so cool for me, because I learned how to drive on Mulholland.
Right.
That was where I took my driving courses. And when everybody at my high school at Agoura High was buying cars, I was getting a motorcycle license at 15 and a half and riding a motorcycle. And in my junior year, I got in an accident that almost killed me right in front of that high school.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even get your water.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you. And got in an accident when somebody, cut me off, and I T-boned him right there in front of the high school. And I'm sure my mother would have rather me not done what I did. But the second I was able to move again, I mean, it almost lost my leg. It was really bad. And about 9 months later, turned around and bought a bigger motorcycle, And so I have now put just over 1 million miles on motorcycles. That's this crazy. Is my 16th bike, I think. But I don't know what I would do without a bike. I've always ridden motorcycles, just really big ones.
Yeah, that's I like big motorcycles. I like big motorcycles. I have the Streak Light, I have the GSA adventure bike,
right.
And then I have a Live Wire. And
you have one too?
Yeah. And I didn't ride it. I've had it for over a year.
I test rode one. That's their trip.
They're super.
When they can
trippy.
pull a trailer, I'll think about it. I gotta pull my trailer.
Well, the thing is, I'm so used to the fairing and the windshield and the hand guards that
when you hear the gas or the engine, I'm used to that. I sure wasn't used to that feel of the Live Wire. I rode that and I'm like, this feels like you're on a toy.
Yeah. Yeah, there is that, and then the range anxiety is a real thing. But like now I'm getting used to it because Jaime has one, so we go. He has a few bikes, but he likes riding that one. Now I'm getting used to it. But for a year, it was inside my living room.
Was that right?
It was just inside my living room for decoration. I was gonna get a lampshade and hang it on the mirror.
I like the lighting you have there.
Yeah. Actually, that lighting's pretty cool. I used it once for a Christmas tree 5 years ago.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, that's what it was made for.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, that's a Christmas tree lighting.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's an LED strip that's like really nice. And then I was like, I'm never going to use this shit again. And then I was like, these helmets need lights.
Oh, there you go.
And
I
now-
didn't really think about my helmets needing lights.
Yeah, well, I have
about
those I have so many helmets. I have so many helmets. I just been riding. I've been riding 20 years, 22 years.
Well, I wouldn't be a good dad if I didn't mention Little John.
Yeah, I want to see
There he
Little
is.
John.
That's my boy. He just turned 13 2 weeks ago.
Super handsome. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm now officially an old man father of a teenager. Oh, my God. Yeah, no, it's funny that photo, I did that with a selfie with my cell phone, but it's funny that that waterfall in the background, you probably can't see the waterfall, but that's called, used to be called Julia Pfeiffer Burns, now it's called something else, but it's up by Big Sur. And that's kind of where I knew photography would be it for me. When I was, the waterfall's like literally right there, you can't see it, it's right behind me.
It's right. Yeah, it's like behind your shoulder.
Yeah, but it's the only place on the California coastline where water comes off a waterfall and goes directly into the Pacific Ocean. And when I was a kid, we've been camping up in Big Sur all my life. I mean, 27, 28 years religiously. Every year we'd go to Big Sur for 2 weeks. And I would go up there with a little snapshot camera, a little 35 millimeter, a little 110.
Yeah, point and shoot.
Point and shoot, and all film. We didn't have digital cameras back then. And I would take these pictures, and my mother would come home with some postcards from Big Sur Lodge, and she'd take the postcard, and she'd take my picture, and she'd go, "These are you doing postcard
Close
stuff?"
to the mic, yeah.
Oh, and she'd say, "You're doing postcard stuff. This is the same quality as the postcards that people pay for." And so I knew then that it would be photography. And then when I became a pilot, almost 40 years ago, I started doing aviation photography, and that was fun. I even had the military buy some of my photos.
Wait. So, okay, you were a pilot. Let's talk
I am
about
a
that.
pilot. Yeah,
You are a pilot.
I'm a pilot. You don't lose that. Yeah, I'm still a pilot. Little John does not like to fly in propeller airplanes.
So,
Found that out
so
the hard
how'd you become a pilot? Were you when you were in the service?
No. When I got sober, it's something that I had always said that I was going to do because I lost the motorcycle accident kept me from going to the Air Force. Old story. I had been accepted to the Air Force Academy in my junior year of high school. Then I got in the motorcycle
What year was this?
78.
78.
When I was accepted into the Air Force Academy. So all I had to do was finish my senior year. And the motorcycle accident happened because of the damage to my leg. I would never be a pilot with the Air Force, so I didn't go. And so it kind of changed the course of my life. But then when I got sober, I decided I always wanted to be a pilot. I had lost my trip to the Air Force, but it doesn't mean I can't be a pilot. Same thing with kids.
Right.
I lost my opportunity to be a dad because I couldn't make a relationship work. And then I, had Little John. So same thing with flying. I wanted to be a pilot, took pilot lessons, became a pilot. So now I'm a pilot.
That's amazing.
So, and I did aviation photography, but mostly all my photography, as where work is concerned, was shooting in basically a photo cube, not action photography. So
That's amazing. And the military hired you to do photography for them.
no. I took some shots at a military event. It was one of the air shows, and I was getting pictures that their own photographers couldn't get. It was really funny. I had some prints done, and I went back to the air show the following weekend, and one of the guys saw the pictures. He says, "Can I show these to somebody?" And so they showed him, and they said, "We want to buy all your pictures." So I went, "Really?" It had to do with shockwave. Do you know what shockwave is?
On the airplane?
Yeah, on the airplane. It's where people think
you
that
were
it's
getting the shockwave.
I was literally getting it, enveloping the fuselage with the front and
Which it
back of the
appears for like
airplane.
2 seconds.
Not 2 seconds.
Not even that.
That's a fraction. It's like it's like catching a bullet.
Right.
And their photographers couldn't catch it, and I was hitting it every time. I must have had 8 or 9 different jets.
So they were going like
with that shockwave
G3?
going. How are you doing that, huh?
They were hitting like speeds of G3 or G2?
No. They're not doing anything like that. There's no Mach. You're talking about Mach?
Mach or speed.
Yeah,
like
people think that shockwave is caused by breaking the sound barrier. That's
Right,
not true
that's what I
because it's
thought.
against the law to break the sound barrier at that low. You have to go to like 20 or 30,000 feet before you like the opening to the Edwards Air Force Base air show. They used to have Chuck Yeager come out and fly and break the sound barrier. He was the guy that flew the X1 or the X something that broke this
the
sound barrier. And so they used to start the show with the sound barrier with him coming out and doing that. but he would do it at 20,000 feet. So you'd hear it, boom.
You would still hear it. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, when the shuttle came in, you'd hear it, hundreds of miles away. Right. So you can't, this is not breaking the sound barrier. It's just subsonic. So it's right there. It has to do with them moving. When they shift position in the plane, they make the plane move real quick. If it's a humid day, there's a vapor explosion.
Right.
And the vapor explosion is what that shock wave is.
Got it.
Sometimes, like if anybody saw Top Gun Maverick, you see them when they're flying real low over the water, you see those little like that. Shoot that from the side. When it does that little burst, that's the shock wave.
Right.
And if you can get it's perfect. You end up with the plane in the front and back, perfect, with this shock wave in the middle. It literally looks like it's going through another dimension. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's like you said. It's like taking a picture of a moving bullet or something.
Yeah, you just,
even
for
Top
me, it's
Gun.
a predictable eye. I see it, I feel it coming, and I take the shot without seeing it. And then when I get back then it was film, when I would get the photos done, I go, oh my God, I actually caught it. You should see my wall. I've got a couple of those pictures on my wall at home, blown up.
My photography teacher, Sam, may he rest in peace, he told me some of the greatest pictures in history were because a photographer was at the right place at the right time with his camera.
With a stupid camera. I had the dumbest Minolta camera with this idiot lens at those air shows. And these guys were up there with these state-of-the-art Canon or Nikon or whatever with these monster lenses. And they're trying to sling that monster lens around, trying to catch this thing. And I'm out there with this little itty-bitty thing going, and just taking the shots.
And just a little bit of luck,
it's
right time.
Just the eye, seeing it and hitting it and making it clean. I mean, a couple of the pictures you can see, you can't read their call sign on the helmet, but you can see the color of their helmet, their microphone, and their face shield and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool seeing them in the cockpit.
Man, congratulations on your
fun.
success, your child, your career, your business. I mean, very exciting.
It's fun. It's a kick in the pants.
So it's a blessing.
It is. For me, it's what to do when things go south. Don't give up. Look for something else, and then try to make it happen. I mean, I'm still trying to build the company. My dream would be to be able to take the photos. This is why Wi-Fi. I have a laptop that can actually receive the images while I'm shooting. Ideally, what I would like is for people to come past my camp and go to the Rock Store, the Old Place, or Neptune's, and have somebody there. Like we see the lawyer guys. Yeah, we see the lawyer guys there at the Rock Store all the time with the table set up. Yeah. And so there, you just did a Russ Brown commercial. Make sure you pay him.
Yeah.
There
it is, Sean.
What I would want is like to hire somebody to sit over there with an iPad.
That's
and as
such a
people
great
roll
idea.
into the Rock Store, they'd say, wonder what she's doing. Of course, it's got to be a girl in a miniskirt.
Of course.
Yeah. And then have them walk over and go, oh, my God, that's my picture. And have them be able to buy spontaneously because
And then
guess
offer a
what?
key.
People are knee-jerk. People are spontaneous. They're impatient. Walk into a place, this is why Disneyland does so well when people come off the ride and they want to buy a picture of them coming off the Matterhorn or whatever. And you see those funny pictures that are all blurred. And they go, I want that picture because it's me on, and it's this little mini megapixel garbage image that they buy because
it was taken with a Nintendo or something.
Right. Whatever that funny little camera is it takes at the end of the ride. And so here it is. I'm out there on Mulholland, and I can get the images posted online where people can walk up and actually buy
what would it
picture.
take to do that?
2 more people and getting my gear out there and I would need one person at my camp to be able to take the images that are coming off the camera, kick the bad shots, because I do take bad shots every once in a while. So kick the bad shots, but sit there and upload as I'm shooting, and then have somebody at the Rock Store or whatever place sitting
with a
there
TV or a monitor,
with a monitor or something where they can sit there and monitor the website. And as the pictures come in, people will walk up and go, "Oh, that's me. How can I buy that picture?" And buy it right there on the spot. Now, they wouldn't be able to get the finished product right there on the spot because they got to do the post-production.
Right.
I can't put 46 megapixel images online using wire Wi-Fi. It'd take forever.
Yeah, but still, you could charge 10% less because they're buying their picture there.
I could,
and then
I could sell the prices for a little bit less for them to be able to buy the
but
picture.
Your prices are so good, dude.
It's really stupid. Really.
It's if they want to see your prices or something, they have to get a hold of you on your website. What's your website?
The way it is right now is highwayphotos.net. or .com, because I own both. It's just when I started, I only had highwayphotos.net. So if you go to Highway Photos, it says Victory John at highwayphotos.net. Right. And even, like I said, .com, whether you send it either way, I'll get the email. I own both domains. And like I said earlier, nobody really understands really how much goes into this. That website that you see, I built that all by hand before we had websites in a can. And now one of the other things that I need to do update is I found out 85% of the people that are going to my website are going there with cell phones.
Yeah.
My website's not designed really for cell
mobile.
phones. It's designed for computers. So I'm going to have to hire somebody because I can't figure out WordPress for the life of me, but I've got to get somebody to build a website that is more mobile friendly. Yeah. Right now it's okay. You can tell. It says, you go to Highway Photos, it says view your photos. You click the button and you go to
but it's hard to navigate through it with a cell phone.
With a cell phone, it's much easier.
Because I'll go through my pictures.
Well, that's
the desktop. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's flawless.
Yeah,
and for what you're doing, it's a piece of cake.
Yeah,
but you have to do a little. We're so spoiled.
I know. It'd be much better if you walked into the rock store and saw somebody sitting there and going, "I want to buy that picture." Yeah. I mean, it'd be great if I could get it set up like that. Currently, I took a pretty big hit last year, so it got to the point where I almost thought about hanging it up. And then, like I said, the second that the word came out of my mouth that I was thinking about hanging it up, I went over to the rock store, and like 8 or 9 people came up to me and went, no, what do you need? And I said, I need more people to step up and buy their pictures, because it got to a point where I started thinking maybe, making minimum wage is not going to cut it for me and my son. And that's what it was started coming down to. So.
Now, at any point, did you used to have a banner?
Oh, there is a banner out there.
There's a banner?
Yeah. In the picture there.
I just know of you, and I've purchased pictures before that I never paid attention to it because I already know where to look.
Highway Photos.
There is a banner.
So as somebody goes by, they see the thing that says Highway Photos. The nice thing is I've been doing it for so long that if you Google, Yahoo, Firefox, whatever, any search engine you use, if you type in highway and photos, my website comes up first, not some knucklehead taking pictures of highways. It's highwayphotos.net is the first one, and Victory John Photography. So I'm lucky in that I've been doing it long enough that I'm not paying for that position. That's just naturally going to be where my website's going to be, with highway and photos. Now, if you type in Rockstore and photos, you'll get the old Rockstore Photos website, but also you'll get Highway Photos website. So that's what it looks like when you go past my camp. And you usually see a flash, because a lot of people ask me that too. Why am I using a flash in the daytime?
Why are you using a flash in the daytime?
Your photography teacher didn't teach you this?
Doesn't matter what he taught me. People are curious.
It's science. It's the science of the light hitting the sensor. There's nothing that you see physically, except maybe occasionally you'll see feedback from the bike or from the windshield. You'll see a flash, the reflection. But as you may notice, where I'm shooting, I'm actually fighting the rules of photography. The sun is in front of me. It's not behind me.
Right.
Now, Paul at Rockstore Photos had it made because the entire time he was up on that hill, he had the sun behind him, and he was shooting into that apex where he's got perfect lighting. Where I'm at, there's not perfect lighting. It's mostly shadow, because the sun's on the other side, and it's actually casting a shadow on this side of the bike. When I use the flash, what the flash is doing is it's putting the photons out there into the image, into the atmosphere, to where the human eye isn't going to pick it up, but Lightroom does. And so when I want to get an edit, and I'm doing something where there's a lot of shadow, like here, the dog, see the dog sitting on his lap? So this is a guy with a sidecar, and the sidecar is up in the air, and the dog is sitting there, but you would never know that the sun was at their back. And this is because I'm using the flash, and the flash is casting the light, even though to the naked eye you can't see it. When I do the post-production, it pulls it out. So I can see under the bike, I can see everything.
That's such a clear picture.
Yeah. One of my son's favorite shots.
It's a beautiful shot.
The doggos. So
Is that Chico? No, I'm kidding.
no, but it's funny we talked about that. It's too bad. There's another doggo picture on a Panigale. This dog is like sitting there saying, "Hey, put your head down, man. You're blocking the wind." It beats the hell out of the windshield. I mean, out of a window. I think that's probably my all-time favorite doggo shot. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
What's the craziest thing you've seen out there?
Oh,
I'm sure there's a lot of it, but like, what's the most memorable?
Well, I think the one most memorable and insane crap, is people passing over the double yellows right in front of me. The other thing that I've seen is some of the crashes that I had a guy spin out. He came by me in a little Ford Nothing and broke loose and then spun completely around and went into the dirt after hitting the rock embankment. Somebody's going to get killed out of there sooner or later. Sure. Thank you. Why isn't your hand shaking? My hand's shaking. This coffee is really good.
I drink this every day.
Oh, my goodness.
I drink this at night. And go
I
to
drink
bed.
I drink a pot of coffee a day, but nothing like this. So, some of the insane stuff I see is probably the passing over the double yellows. There are a couple of groups that come by that have no respect for the rest of the people on the road, and I don't shoot them on purpose. But I think some of the coolest stuff I've seen, I have a picture of it.
So many celebrities. And do you get excited when you see the celebrities?
No, not anymore.
Not anymore, huh?
Yeah, here you go. Want to see exciting?
Wow, that's badass.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, now that's some of the fun stuff I do. Now, again, these guys will come right at my face just like that, and then my question would be, why the hell am I not getting the hell out of the way? What would make anybody stand in front of a motorcycle doing that? I guess I'm too old and too stubborn to move.
No, man, that's a very well calculated shot.
Yeah.
That's outstanding.
Well, I cheat a little bit. I'm doing in continuous firing, so all I have to do is track them.
Yeah.
Just like that, and then one of them's going to come out like that. The trick on this was that I told the guy, I said, I need you to touch down while you're in your own shadow. So he said, what? He said, you're not looking at his leg. I said, okay, you just do it right around here, and I'll take the shot. So you can see that the sparks are coming off right in his own shadow. If that
it goes the other
been
side,
the other direction, I wouldn't have seen the sparks. Yeah.
as well. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, but this is why stopping at my camp is such a good idea. If you have an idea, stop at my camp. We'll talk about it and see what you want to do. Like you stop by, we'll take your helmet off, do a couple passes with your helmet off.
I have to. I want to get new gear for.
Well, I see that picture there with you with your helmet off.
Yeah.
Now let's put you in motion.
Now, exactly. Now let's put it in motion. I have this one in motion.
Oh, yeah. That looks like Angela's crest.
Actually, no. It's Malibu.
That's Malibu?
Yep.
Oh, you're coming down Latigo?
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
it looks like Latigo.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just shot a Singer Porsche out on Latigo. Last Singer Porsche sold for $1.2 million, and this guy has 2 Singer Porsches.
Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, I know. That's a Singer Porsche on Encinal. Oh, by the way, you were probably going to ask me, do I do private photo sessions? This is from a private photo session. What I do is we go out for a couple hours. We go over to Latigo. We go over to Encinal. We go to Mulholland. And then we go wherever you think is a good place to go. And we do that. If it's just one person, I charge $300 for a photo shoot that lasts a couple of hours and you get all the pictures.
Is that
If you do it as a group, I charge $500. And we could take up to 3 people. And again, you get all the photos. You
That's
don't just get
amazing.
1 or 2.
That's so affordable.
Find a photographer that does that.
There does. I know photographers that will charge anywhere from $600 to $800 to not ride a motorcycle, not stand on the side of the road, wants a perfectly lit place. And,
Anybody with a cell phone can
maybe
take a picture.
2 spots, you know, and I'm like, but
I went and did a family portrait with my family at a studio a couple of years ago, and it was $65 for just one shot. And if you want the digital copy of it, it's $100. And I'm like, are you kidding me? $65 for a family photo. And people pay it because they don't know where else to get a family portrait.
right.
And so when I look at those rates and I'm thinking, that's crazy. And then I look at my prices and I go, that's just nuts. But I enjoy doing it. And one thing is for sure is that we don't have a boring time when I do these private. This guy with the Porsche collection, we went out and shot him. I've been shooting him for 11 years. Really great guy, and we have a blast. And we do this every time I do a photo shoot. There's somebody that asked me, will you shoot weddings? Only if somebody's planning on making a run for the door. If it isn't moving fast, I'm not shooting it, so I don't do weddings. I just can't handle it. It's just too slow.
And then I am going to want to have you on my show again later, and I am going to talk to my guys, and we're definitely going to hire you for
absolutely
a group shot.
Get three people together. Let's go out and spend a day in the canyons.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Plus, I have drones.
Oh, nice.
I tend to fly the
you
drones.
See, I have drones, but the problem is I can't fly it and take pictures of myself.
I know. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? Some of my best customers are photographers. And the one thing that they make very clear is that they can't shoot themselves.
Yeah.
Especially
the one that I have, you have to wear the goggles.
Right. And they're the most critical about my photos. So when I get a photographer, like I just had a guy, I think he's a student photographer. He just contacted me and mentioned right out the gate that he's a photographer. And then he was asking me some questions, and I started wondering how much does he really know about photography? Because the way he described it, he was trying to shoot people going 80 miles an hour using 1/125th. Not unless you're on a monopod. You're never going to get a clean shot at that slow of speed with them going that fast. You can make them look. I mean, this guy is ripping past me, and I think I shot him at 1/200. And you can see the background's completely blurred.
Yeah.
So speed is important to some degree. But, yeah, your settings on your camera is everything. So.
We briefly talked about it last time when we were on the phone last week about people riding over their limits or the motorcycle limits.
Yeah.
What safety advice, with your experience watching people ride and your experience in riding, what safety advice would you give out to people?
Right out the gate, feel the bike and feel what it's doing. I see guys come by, there are a lot of the Dyna guys come by and they're really good, but there are a couple of them that come by and their bike is not tuned for the canyon. And you can see the bike shimmying. And I'm like, dude, knock it off. Stop it. When the bike starts doing, it's like people that come around the turn and the wheels start to squeal. The squealing means you're losing traction. Stop speeding up. Get your foot off the gas, and let it slow down and stop breaking traction. Traction is your friend out there, same as speed and space, distance. I see a lot of people that come by and they're too close together. And then other people are treating it like a racetrack. They're like, even some of the cars come by and they're right on each other. And I'm thinking,
what are you
all
doing?
It takes is one little thing to go wrong, especially if it's a car chasing a motorcycle. And I get that some of these guys, and I've got some pretty cool pictures of guys where they work together and they talk to each other, and they're doing that, and I get a shot of a car right on a motorcycle. But space is your friend.
Space is your friend. That's so good.
Space is your friend. And they're on Mulholland, especially Mulholland, and even worse, Angeles Crest, there's no room for mistakes up there. It's just like when I got my pilot's license, the one thing the instructor made perfectly clear, there's no room to make a mistake. You make a mistake, people die. Okay, and it's not just you, it could be somebody else, somebody on the ground. So when I'm flying, you take all the advantages of everything you've learned about safety when you're flying. It's the same thing I am when I'm on the motorcycle. You don't want to drive like you're afraid. You want to push it. You want to push your limit, but don't push the bike's limit either. When you feel it doing something, dial it down, or go to the track. Learn how to ride it on the track.
The track is so important. Too.
Yeah, and I take my friend on his Ducati, and he's coming by me 80, 85. The one thing you can't plan for is a rock slide or a deer or even a squirrel or gopher or whatever else might roll out onto the road, or worse, some bonehead going in the other direction that decides he doesn't have to pay attention and goes over the doubles.
Yeah.
These are things you have to think about. You don't want to be a statistic.
And even a simpler thing, check your PSI.
Oh, on the tires.
On the tires.
Absolutely.
Check your
tires.
Check your tires.
Check your chain.
Check your suspension.
Look,
Check your chain.
We could go over that. Every time when you fly an airplane, you have to go through a walkthrough, and the first thing you do with an airplane is you open the doors, you put down the flaps, and then you do a walk around. And you do the walk around religiously, and you don't do it on memory. You have a checklist, and literally you walk through and you go through that checklist, and you check every single thing on the checklist. Don't leave it to memory. Funny, we don't do that with motorcycles, and there are far more motorcycle accidents than there are.
And it's more dangerous than a plane.
And it's more dangerous, right?
Statistically.
Well, yes, statistically it is. You crash an airplane, it's right. All likelihood you're dead. You got a good chance to walk away.
Yeah, but you drop a motorcycle at 2 miles an hour, you're fucking up your leg.
Yeah.
Excuse the language, but you're hurting yourself.
That's true. That's true. So, so I don't know why we don't do that with motorcycles. Look, I don't. I got on the bike and just started on up and ran. But within the first 3 or 4 minutes, I can tell how the bike feels. You get on the freeway and you push it, you can feel how the bike feels. When I get into the canyons and I start pushing it. And look, people have followed me when I'm pulling that trailer, and they freak. They're like, I can't believe you're pulling the trailer that fast. Because I pull the trailer on the freeway at 80 miles an hour. I'm not kidding. I get on the 101, and I'm in the fast lane doing 80.
FYI, he is kidding. This is recorded. Just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding. To all you CHP that are listening, I'm really not going that fast. See?
We're all laughing. We're just like, I also got this one.
That's what happens when you drop your bike.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So my word is know yourself and know your bike, and
it's so important.
Push it on the track, man. Don't push it in the canyon. It's hard to do. I mean, people are going to keep pushing it in the canyons, but just know this too. My trailer has a full trauma kit in the back. So if something does happen, you come to my camp and grab my trauma kit. Don't wait for the paramedics. They usually turn the wrong way in the canyons. I don't know why. Every time I see them come, they go the wrong way. Why did they go that way?
Yeah, who knows? They probably got multiple calls. Like, I mean, it's Malibu. I spoke to a doctor, and he's saying, do you know how many people on motorcycle accidents come into our hospital?
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad.
It's a lot.
So don't be a statistic.
Don't be a statistic. Be careful. Ride safe. What's your website? Well, again, what's the Instagram again?
Highwayphotos.net. Instagram is at Victory John, spelled Jon. So.
And ride it back and forth. Stop by the campsite. Check it out.
Yeah, all are welcome. You saw the size of the camp. I put the canopy up. I bring chairs. I usually have, in the summertime, I have plenty of water there. You're all are welcome to stop by. If you have an idea that you want to get a shot for,
private
stop
sessions,
by, we'll have a talk. Yeah.
Private sessions. You're usually there Saturday and Sunday? Only?
Saturday, Sundays, and some holidays.
Is there a certain time?
It's all based on the lighting. Right now, at this time of the year, I get there about 10 o'clock, and I stay until about 2:30 or 3. In the summertime, it's a little bit different, but you can follow it just by tracking the sun. I'm out there usually longer in the summer because we have more light for a longer period of time. And it's also directly overhead, so I don't have to worry about shadows.
I think what you do for the community is outstanding. It's amazing. It's a great value because, again, if you just hired somebody to take a picture of you while riding, it's almost impossible, Yeah. And then if you do find somebody, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're doing this is outstanding. How long do you hold on to the
pictures are online until forever? I mean, Now, I switched over to SmugMug in 2011, I think it was. So everything on there is from 2011 on. But they're all still up there. If you got pictures that I took of you in 2011, 2012.
I think I'm going to look for some pictures from 2017.
Yeah, I always recommend it's so long ago. If it's like really that long ago, I would say, where did you go to lunch? And look up your credit card receipts to find the date.
I took a picture, yeah.
If you have a picture, if you did a screen capture
of the day.
Of the date. Okay.
I took a picture because I stopped. I think like on that little, where the cars stop right after your campsite.
Yeah.
There's like a little area.
No, you're thinking of the snake. You're thinking up on top. There's no. Maybe. Oh, I know where you're talking about. Where the cars stop, where they're all hiking down in the canyons. Yeah. By the way, you got to be careful going around those turns because those idiots pull out of there and make a U-turn right in the middle of the street. Sadly, one of the sad things about what I do is I've been the last living photograph of 5 people now, meaning
Really?
over the last 13 years, 5 people have come past me, and minutes later they're dead. One of them was a guy named Prince Oliver. I've got the last living photo of him. He was a huge playboy kind of guy. He was Zsa Zsa Gabor's adopted son. They had a multi-million-dollar memorial for him down on Malibu, but I was there when he got killed. I've literally got the picture of him minutes before he died. So, yeah, that can be the sad part of what I do. People do die out there. So,
Man,
I
John.
don't want to be the last living photo of somebody.
Yeah, ever. No, I appreciate what you do. We all do. I'm sure if there's somebody you took a picture of and didn't buy it yet, I'm sure they probably didn't even know where to look at it.
That's a lot of the case, and I wish I could come up with something.
And I think what the problem is, I think you got to move your banner, because I think people are so focused on you getting a picture of them that by the time they pass, it's so obvious for you.
I used to have 3 banners.
Yeah.
I used to put one before my camp on one side and one on the other side. On the road, people steal them.
Oh, bastards.
It's crazy. I get these banners, I put them up down there. I go down to pick it up at the end of the day, and the banner's gone, or other people, like the haters, throw it over the cliff. I found one down at the bottom of the cliff. So
that's one of these.
they've got to be.
That's
That's one of those, yeah. So I've put other signs up so people can have more opportunities to see that it says highway photos, so they know where to go to get their pictures. But usually at extreme cost, where they take it and then I got to have another one made.
No, the best thing is, like you said, have like a table at the rock store and
That
a
would be
table
great
at
if I could get it to the point
old
where
place.
I started modernizing this to where the photos went immediately live after I shot them, because I really do think people are, people tend to be impulsive. They want what they want. They want it now, and so if
Instant
I had
gratification.
instant gratification, right, rather than delayed. And
or
I
a
think
mobile
that
app if you do a mobile app.
mobile lab.
Mobile app.
Mobile app.
you know,
now
where
you're
they-
talking about cost. Yeah, I don't make that kind of money.
More
to be able to
sales.
invest in. Yeah,
More
Yeah.
sales. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I would love to have you again on the show.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about more stuff and more things.
come by my camp. We'll sit and bring your camera.
Actually,
and
that's
I'll
another
show
thing.
you some tricks.
Okay, I'll bring my camera, and I actually have portable podcast equipment where
Oh,
we could
cool.
we could just sit there and just talk about
Yeah.
like that guy doesn't know how to ride. That's cool.
If you look up a guy named Sidestand on, I think it's Instagram, he came out to my camp and actually did a little interview with me that was actually kind of funny. But he likes to test equipment. So, in fact, the last motorcycle he did a review of, he bought. I never thought it was really that good of a bike. So, yeah, I always love reviewers that buy the stuff that they review.
Yeah. Well, that's badass. Next time I see you, I will see you on the campsite, and we'll do a podcast out on the field.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
Thank you so much, John.
All right. Thank you.